been a season of ups and downs so far. Ducati began 2022 as the pre-season favourites after Bagnaia won 3 of the last 4 races in 2021. The Mini VR46 team and Gresini Racing joined the Ducati factory alongside the Ducati Lenovo team and Prima Pramac Ducati in 2022, expanding the number of bikes to 8 on the grid. Wins have come thick and fast and every rider has had their time in the spotlight, but inconsistencies and crashes have plagued what promised to be a golden year for the Bologna Bullets. The season began under the floodlights in Qatar. Starting on the third row, Bagnaia had a lot of work to do, but his race would come to an end in the Turn 1 gravel after losing the front and taking out pole man Jorge Martin in the process. It was double disaster at Ducati as Jack Miller got his season off to a troubled start after an electronics issue sidelined the Australian as the race got underway, putting the Italian factory on the back foot with a double DNF. But it was Bastianini who picked up the Ducati mantle and charged a stunningly emotional maiden MotoGP win. There wasn't a dry eye in the house as it was the first for Gresini in MotoGP since Tony Elias in 2006 and the first since the passing of team owner and mentor Fausto Gresini 1 year earlier. Rolling on to Indonesia, and MotoGP returned to the country for the first time since 1997 at the state-of-the-art Mandalika circuit. Everyone was chasing the beast, but Bastianini could only manage a lowly 11th at the flag. However, it was Zarco and Miller that were a ray of sunshine for Ducati in the tricky conditions, the Frenchman holding onto the podium place just ahead of Miller, taking the first podium of the year for the GP22. After 3 years away, the paddock returned to Argentina and things began to look up for Bagnaia. After qualifying a lowly 13th, the Italian produced a stellar ride, producing an overtaking masterclass. He worked his way calmly up through the field to eventually take 5th and get some much needed points on the board. But it was Jorge Martin that carried the Ducati flag. After setting pole position, the Pramac Ducati rider led much of the race, fending off attack after attack from Aprilia man Aleix Espargaro. However, he finally succumbed to the pace of Espargaro, settling for 2nd, but it was nonetheless a brilliantly fought first podium of 2022, while Marco Bezzecchi would score his first top 10 in MotoGP and his first points of the season. For the 4th of the flyways, we went stateside to the Circuit of the Americas and it finally looked as though the GP22 had hit its stride, with the top 5 positions on the grid being locked out by Ducatis riding the 2022 machinery. It was Jack Miller who got the whole shot from 3rd on the grid and controlled the race until the final few laps, losing out to Bastianini and then Rins on the final lap. Crossing the line in 3rd, he celebrated a first podium of 2022 in typical Miller fashion. However, it was Bastianini that stole the show for Ducati once more. After a difficult 2 races only scoring 11 points, the beast was back on the top step of the podium with a calm and calculated ride, becoming the first 2-time winner of 2022.
I have pushed like a bastard.
Following his podium, another strong result was something that Miller was looking for to build on, but it wasn't to be as he lost the front going into turn 1 while passing Mir for 3rd, taking down the luckless Suzuki man in the process. It followed a troublesome weekend for teammate Bagnaia, this hefty high side putting the Italian in doubt for the race when he hit a wet patch on slicks in Q1. But he rolled up to the grid after being declared fit, starting 24th and last. Bagnaia, the Italian, worked his way up through the field to a soldiering 8th despite this contact with Pol Espargaro. Celebrations continued at Pramac Ducati as Johan Zarco took the team's 3rd podium in 4 races and his 2nd of the year. Rolling on to round 6 in the south of Spain, and it was a return in many ways of Bagnaia. Obliterating the all-time lap record to take his first pole of the year, he backed that up with a lights-to-flag victory on Sunday and taking his first win of the year and the first for the GP22 bike. It was another strong weekend for the factory team as Miller took a hard-fought 5th, just losing out on 4th after a last lap pass by Marc Marquez, but it really looked as though the factory team had really hit its stride. A packed-out crowd greeted the MotoGP paddock at Le Mans. The Ducati Renaissance looked to be in motion as Bagnaia took back-to-back poles and was joined in the front row by teammate Miller. As lights went out, it was the Australian that shot into the lead, but would later lose out to factory teammate into Garage Ver before holding on to second and his second podium of the year. This came after Bagnaia lost the front at the final turn on lap 20 following an epic battle with Bastianini. 20 points lost in a pivotal point of the championship was not what the Italian needed. This left the Gresini rider clear at the front to take his third win of the year and propel himself back into championship contention. Bagnaia bounced back at home in Mugello. The Italian done what only Andrea Dovizioso and Danilo Petrucci had previously done, winning the Italian GP on an Italian bike as an Italian rider, receiving a rock star-like reception on the podium. However, it was the performance of Fabio Di Giannantonio and the Muni VR46 riders that caught everyone's eye. The Gresini rookie stole the show on Saturday, coming through Q1 in tricky conditions to take a sensational pole position. With a much needed confidence boost, he then backed this up with his best result so far in 11th. He was joined on the front row by fellow rookie Marco Bezzecchi and his teammate Luca Marini. Both were in the podium battle for much of the race and at the finish took 5th and 6th. MotoGP returned to Spain at the Catalan GP at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. But disaster struck for Bagnaia as he was taken out in a Turn 1 incident, putting a dent in his title bid. But it was Pramac Ducati pair of Martin and Zarco carrying the Ducati baton in 2nd and 3rd. A much needed return to form for Martin as his bid for the second factory seat in 2023 had begun to falter. Heading into the Sachsenring, it was announced that the second factory seat would be vacated by Miller for 2023, meaning that it was now a straight shootout between Martin and Bastianini. However, as Martin began to return to form, Bastianini had 2 DNFs following his Le Mans victory. Martin staked his claim with 6th, while Bastianini could only manage a 10th place finish. But both finished behind Luca Marini, the Muni VR46 rider producing a late charge to take his best result in the dry with 5th. However, it was Miller who shone in the scorching Sachsenring sun. After a crash under yellow flags in FP4 left him with a long lap penalty, he charged through the field to take 3rd in the final stages, finding his form again after 2 disastrous races. But talking of disaster, that's what befell teammate Bagnaia, the Italian falling from 2nd on lap 4 at turn 1, all but putting him out of title contention as he left Germany 91 points adrift of Fabio Quartararo. 7 days later, it was the final showdown before the summer break at the Cathedral of Speed at Assen. Bagnaia bounced back in typical fashion with pole position and a lights to flag win, and in doing so, reignited his faint championship hopes. Bagnaia's incredible win was backed up by an outstanding Marco Bezzecchi. The rookie was fast all weekend and showing that he has clicked with a MotoGP bike, he looked right at home as he rode to a stunning 2nd place, taking his and the team's first podium at a venue where owner Valentino Rossi had so much success during his career. With 11 races down and 9 more to go once MotoGP returns after the summer break, Ducati have had an incredible amount of success, but fortune has sometimes not been on their side. When the season reconvenes at Silverstone on August 7th, the odds will be stacked against them to take the crown in 2022. But with a tenacity and never give up attitude, if anyone can bring themselves back into title contention, it will be Bagnaia and Ducati, as they both proved last year.
If you like these videos, click here and here if you like more videos like this.